Hello, my friend, and welcome to TFU News and Views. I am your host, Anthony Brucali, owner, operator, madman behind TFU.INFO, the website, the Toy Archive, Transformers University podcast, this podcast, and oh so much more. And I was going to record an episode of News and Views today, moments before I got a image sent to me on Twitter from my friend Daryl over at the Transmissions podcast at Cybertronian Beast, and he hooked me up with something he found on 4chan of leaks regarding the rest of Kingdom, or at least waves 3 and 4 and a handful of Generations selects. Before I get into those leaks, because I don't want to spoil it for anyone who wants to be surprised by the official reveals, because it's funny, I got this message and I'm like, that's kind of a bummer. I was kind of waiting for the official word, but this is going to get around and I'm going to have no way of avoiding it anyway, so I do appreciate Daryl sending it to me so I could be in the know right away. And some of this is all leaked already. That being said, I was going to record an episode about how I am a huge Beast Wars fan. I love Beast Wars. It is my favorite piece of Transformers fiction, and I'm not excited for Kingdom. That might be the title of this episode, or at least that was the working title of this episode. So maybe that's a conversation for the back end of this podcast, because going through waves 2, 3, 4, and the selects mentions, I still don't know if I'm excited for Kingdom, and I think part of it is just exhaustion. Exhaustion with Earthrise, exhaustion with the world in general. I think it's a tough time for any of us. I know I've been going through some personal struggles lately that I won't get into on the show, but I do feel to some extent, I don't know if it's just because most of us are, I don't want to say stuck at home, but we are home a lot more than we used to be, that it feels like we're almost inundated as Transformers fans with news and with releases and with selects figures, and I'm sure there'll be more surprises down the line, and just the state of collecting as a whole. And I think, maybe this is a conversation for another day. That said, I do want to get into the news. So, with that in mind, I'm going to give you a chance to punch out. Now, if you do not want to know what is rumored, and this is from an anonymous source on 4chan who may or may not be legit, but I think this is someone who has either done some really good research or has looked at some of the previous listings and leaks and kind of pieced it all together with a couple of things, or this is legit. I'm leaning towards this is legit. So if you don't want to know what's coming up in waves 2, 3, 4, and a handful of selects figures, here's your chance to punch out, okay? So I'm going to give you 5-second countdown, and then we're going to start talking about wave 2 of Kingdom according to these rumors. And also, please keep in mind, these are still just rumors. Until you hear from Hasbro, official product copy, official photos, it's always going to be just rumors. Yes, that even includes things that people have samples of in hand, because unless they release it or plan to release it, it's not official. So it's always going to be a rumor because it is Hasbro's news to release. So with that in mind, here's the countdown in 5, 4, 3, 2. All right, time to talk Kingdom Wave 2. So from the anonymous source, we have 2 new figures at the core class, and that would be Megatron and Starscream. It doesn't say which Megatron, but I'm going to assume it's a G1 Megatron to keep him in the line because he really doesn't appear anywhere else. And those make sense, especially with the Optimus figure and especially with what the Titan is planned to be. If you haven't been spoiled on that, we'll talk about that when we get to Wave 3. At the Deluxe class, we have Air-Razor, Ractonite, and Huffer. Now, I'm trying to remember if Ractonite leaked already, but I don't think he did, or she. I still kind of hope that it's part of me really hopes it's a reference to Mac tonight from the old McDonald's commercials, but if it was just a skeleton with a giant moon head, I'd be kind of into that. But it's probably not. Airazor's a good choice. I think part of my issue with Kingdom is the character selection for Beast Wars, and it's not that they're the wrong characters. They're absolutely the right characters to do, but my love of Beast Wars, and I think many people's love of Beast Wars, is from Season 2 on. Season 1 is great, and there's a lot of great things there, but those characters have been addressed many, 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 many times, including Airazor. But it's good to see her get one. It's good to see another female character in the line. And in fact, there are actually 2 Deluxe females in this wave. RC will also ship in Earthrise packaging. No note if there's any sort of changes to this figure. Huffer at a Deluxe class. It looks like they're going to work their way through the mini bots again at the Deluxe scale. Okay. I don't know if they need to go through all of them. Huffer is one that needs one. The Generations, I guess that was Combiner Wars figure. It's a nice figure. It looks like the Earth Wars figure, Earth Wars character model, so I'm down with that. But I understand why you would want to do a separate version of Huffer if you're trying to go for cartoon accuracy. And then Ractonite is most certainly a fossilizer. At the Voyager scale, you have Inferno, which unfortunately is not Beast Wars Inferno. And given that they're talking about Season 1 characters here, it would have been nice to see Beast Wars Inferno. He is one of those characters that has not been addressed since 96, 99, if you want to count the Japanese Metals version, which was released here as Transmetal Scavenger. But there's no difference between the Scavenger toy and the Japanese toy other than the stamp. Trust me, I own them both. But it looks like we're going to get a Earthwise Grapple retool as Inferno here, and Voyager class Dinobot. Now, I am always down for more Dinobot figures. Why? 1, Dinobot is one of the most important characters in the series. 2, he keeps the same body for almost the entire run. 3, he's the best character on the show. And 4, there's a lot of repaint potential with a Dinobot mold. And I own the Masterpiece figure, which is a work of engineering magic. In fact, I've only transformed it once because I don't want to put it back in dinosaur mode. So, you know what? It'll be nice to see a really good Dinobot, I hope, at a $30 price point. And then finally, at the leader class, we have Earth Ultra Magnus, which I'm going to guess is a retool of the Siege Ultra Magnus, but in a more G1 style. Or maybe it's a new mold altogether. Who knows? We haven't seen photos of it yet. But he does appear in the artwork picture, so this makes sense that Ultra Magnus is there. That takes care of Wave 2. Moving on to Wave 3. At the core class, we have Soundwave. Again, makes sense, right? We're gonna get the big, 8 characters probably here at core class, if I was to guess. You get your Optimus, your Megatron, your Soundwave, your Starscream, your Shockwave, your Bumblebee, your Grimlock, and then pick an Autobot car, Prowl, Jazz, whoever. That's usually the big 8, or Ironhide. There'll be somebody in there, somebody with a lot of repaint potential, Sideswipe. But here we're seeing Soundwave at the core class. Additionally, we're seeing a figure called Dracodon at the core class. I'm guessing that's another fossilizer figure, but I like the fact that there is a new character and a Beast Wars character at this size class, not just a G1 character. And really another Beast Wars character at this size class, because we've only seen one, and that was Rat Trap in Wave 1. At the Deluxe scale, we have Trax, which had been rumored before, and he is also in the art that was released back when they announced Kingdom. Deluxe Wingfinger, which is most likely another fossilizer, and Deluxe Scorponok, as well as a reship of Deluxe Wheeljack from Earthrise. Again, it's been rumored that this Wheeljack is just a straight reship of the Earthrise figure in Kingdom packaging. Now, the Scorponok in here, that's an interesting one, because that is most likely Beast Wars Scorponok. His arm is in the artwork very briefly on the left-hand side, or his tail. I don't remember what I saw on that image, but that's one. It also has a little bit of repaint potential. There were 2 BotCon exclusives, one in Japan and one in the US. In BotCon Japan, there was Double Punch, which was a very pretty redeco of the Scorponok figure, and in the US, there was Beast Wars Sandstorm, same name, different character than the G1 character, and he was a noble Predacon. It was kind of a neat twist on a figure. It's also one of the first figures I got at a BotCon because it was the exclusive at my first BotCon back in 1999. So the Scorponok choice, again, it's a good choice. It's one that hasn't been redone a whole lot, but it's also a season 1 character. So it's such a hit or miss thing for me. And I recognize the fact that it's me talking and not necessarily the general consensus of the fandom. But it'll be good to see that character back out there. At the Voyager class, we have Rynox added into the line in Wave 3. I love the old generations Rynox from a few years back. That was such a great toy. I don't know what that's going for in the secondary market. If it's commanding a high price, it's pretty big compared to what we get now. So it's going to be interesting to see what they do with the Voyager size class. And again, this one has limited repaint potential. There were a handful of Rynox repaints, but there was nothing like, there wasn't another character built off the Rynox tooling. It was just other versions of Rynox. He had a different color scheme in Japan than he did in the US. There was the Fox Kids version, which if they did that as a selects would be bonkers. So I'm wondering what they could do with a Rynox figure to retool it to make it useful later on, especially at the Voyager size class. So other than a battle damaged Rynox or some sort of, Netflix recolor, which is totally in the realm of possibility here, a Rynox recolor or retooling is going to be interesting. At the leader class, there is a Galvatron figure, which again was expected. He's all over the artwork for Kingdom. I'm excited to see what that Galvatron figure looks like. And there's some other mentions here as we get to a few of the other releases that are going to make this toy pretty interesting. I'm guessing he is cartoon colored with light color purple. And at the leader scale, they'll be able to do some fun things with his accessories. And if it's anything like the leader Optimus we got this year from Earthrise, I'm going to be excited for that one. Then, of course, there's the Commander class figure, which has yet to be announced. It's rumored to be Rodimus Prime, but it is not in this listing. That would be pretty cool either way. So at least we have a little bit of surprise, not ruined here. It also says Titan, but that was leaked, that it is the Ark. And if you look at the Kingdom artwork, there is a robot Ark that looks a lot like the last Autobot from the late run of the G1 Marvel Comics. I'm excited about that, and the reason I want to talk about that too is there's a reason why we're getting a lot of the core mainstay characters at the core size class. Wonder where they got the name from. It's so they can interact with that Ark, right? Because if you have a giant Ark, you need a tiny Optimus Prime, you need a tiny Megatron to scale with those pieces. So I'm guessing the core class is really designed to work with that Ark figure. All right, into Wave 4. And there's some good choices here. I'm excited a bit about Wave 4. Deluxe Waspinator. Again, someone that's appeared in some of the artwork. I think some of the packaging artwork actually has Waspinator hiding in the background. Waspinator is a good choice. A lot of repaint potential there. You can do Buzzsaw. If you really want to go into retoolings, maybe you do a Dirge gun. So, wow, that'd be pretty cool, Dirge gun. There's also a handful of various Waspinator recolors throughout the years. Again, this is a character that's been addressed. He's a beloved Transformers character, so I'm not mad they're doing one, but it's also one that he was in the Generations line already. There are other iterations of Waspinator I'd like to see figures of. Personally, I would think it would be awesome if this Waspinator was some sort of weaponizer because you can just blow him apart like it happens in the cartoon all the time, and you just take him apart. But, with that leaked Studio Series cup that you can take apart a lot, maybe that's Hasbro's MO with some of these figures. Deluxe pipes, which most likely would be a retool of the Deluxe Huffer. I'm fine with that one. If you're going to do Huffer, you might as well do pipes. Deluxe Shadow Panther. Again, makes sense. This is most likely a recolor or retool of the Cheetor figure from Wave 1. Deluxe Slammer, which has got to be a recolor and or retool of the Warpath figure from Wave 1. Voyager Tigatron. I'm interested to see what that is. So just like with Masterpiece now, with the Tigatron figure that's out, they made it a little taller and a little broader than the Cheetor figure. So it's nice to see Tigatron potentially get a mold that is not meant to be Cheetor. And it's going to be fun to see what they do with that. Because Cheetor and Tigatron and Shadow Panther are kind of the obvious recolors, retools of each other in this line. And if Tigatron is a different mold, then what do they do to get a little more of their investment out of these molds as they go down the line? And also a reship of Voyager's Starscream. No word if that is new colors or what. It wouldn't hurt to do new colors on that figure because it's a great toy. I already own, 5 of them in various colors. Doing one more probably couldn't hurt. Now, let's go on to Selects because there is one more of that mold in the Selects line, but we'll get to that in just a second. At the Deluxe scale, there's 2 listed here. A Deluxe Deep Cover and a Deluxe Transmutate. Now, Deep Cover was rumored to be part of one of the Walmart Netflix listings a while back. If you don't know who Deep Cover is, he is a eHobby exclusive figure from the early 2000s. He is was a recolor of G1 Sideswipe in like a dark navy blue. So I'm guessing this is Siege Sideswipe, once again done in a new color in dark navy blue. That's what they did with Tiger Track. Tiger Track and Deep Cover actually came out around the same time originally. This would make sense here. It would also make sense if he was part of the Walmart line because there was at least one dark blue Sideswipe in those crowd scenes, right? He might be part of both. You might just get a really, desaturated and battle damaged one in the Walmart line and have 2 Deep Covers in one year. It's not entirely out of the realm of possibility. Now, the Deluxe Transmutate, that's an interesting one. So, Transmutate, for those who don't know, that's a Season 2 character. So, I'm excited for that one. I don't know how they're going to do her. Now, she never transformed in the show, so having a transforming toy of her doesn't necessarily make sense. They've made one toy of her in the past, and it was a Build-A-Figure for the 10th anniversary line. They could just straight up reissue the 10th anniversary Build-A-Figure, right? We've seen it with Selects. They just did it with the 10th anniversary of Transformers Prime, just straight up rerunning molds that weren't released here or weren't widely available. They could totally just re-release the Build-A-Figure in one package. It could be a Transformers RED figure. It could be part of a Red series as a Selects figure with just a straight up sculpt of Transmutate. You don't have to worry about engineering, right? You just have to make parts. Arms, legs, head, torso. Or the last piece of this is it could be a retooled fossilizer of some kind. So in my head, the jury's still out on Transmutate. There's a lot of things it could be. There's a lot of things she could be in this. If I was to bet on those 3 thoughts of mine, I would say it's probably a 50% chance that it's the 10th anniversary Build-A-Figure rerun. I'd say it's a 35% chance it's an RED figure, and I'd say the last 15% is that it's a fossilizer retooled. That's just my guess right now. At the Voyager scale, we see 2 more recolors a G2 ramjet at the Voyager scale, which I really like that idea. Hey, more Seekers. This Seeker mold off the Voyager Starscream, like I said, I already own 5 of them. I got the Sandstorm on pre-order. That's 6. I love this toy. It is, and I love the classics Seeker mold, and I have God knows how many of those. Not all of them, but a lot of them. And I'm fine with Hasbro rerunning this mold into the ground. In fact, that Voyager Starscream in Wave 4 would be so much better if it was in G2 colors to match the G2 ramjet they're about to do in Selects. Also at the Voyager scale, Artfire. Artfire is a redeco of G1 Inferno. Makes sense because there's a G1 Inferno in Wave 2, retooled off of the Earthrise Grapple mold. Artfire is a character from the 1987 cartoon series in Japan, Headmasters, which we'll be covering soon enough in Transformers University. So if you're not listening to Transformers University, why not? And how are you on this podcast and not that podcast? Here's your chance. Go over there, Transformers University, on your favorite podcatcher, and subscribe. We've got 95 episodes or so, 94. I think 95 comes out next week. I'm already working on episode 96. In fact, that's why I sat down to record today. Here's your chance to catch up before I do get into the Headmasters cartoon series, which will have Artfire in it. He was a Target Master in the 1987 Japan series, and he was a recolor of the original Inferno mold. So there were 2 recolors of G1 molds in Headmasters that are highly sought after and coveted by Transformers fans because they use those original molds, and that would be Artfire and Stepper, who later got renamed into Ricochet. So if you've seen a Black Jazz named Ricochet, that's based off of Stepper. Finally, at the leader class, it says Toy Galvatron. So I'm guessing that is Galvatron in dark purple and toy colors, or grays, I guess, right? Because the toy was gray. In toy colors as a Generation Selects. Be interested to see what the pricing is on that. I don't know if people are going to plunk down $50 for that, but at 40, or like a early bird special at 35 or 40, like Hasbro Pulse seems to like to do if you order in the first hour or 2, I could see that one going. And again, it also depends on what they include with him. And so that is the leaks for this day in early October. I'm actually kind of glad there's something today because I've been really missing New York Comic Con this week. My Facebook memories and my Amazon photos, on this day stuff is just been littered for the past week with photos from New York Comic Con, and it's one of my favorite events of the year. And I'm really bummed that it's not happening right now, and probably won't happen for another year. And so it's nice to kind of have some sort of like Comic-Con styled news, even if it is unofficial. So with that, I'm going to wrap it up here. If you want to reach out to me, you want to tell me that you liked this update, you hated this update, best way to do it is on Twitter at TFU_info. You can also catch this show and Transformers University podcast anywhere you listen to podcasts. So iTunes, Google, whatever they call it now. It was Google Play. It might be Google Podcasts, Spotify, Stitcher, even on YouTube. I put this up as a video so you can listen along while you're doing some other things. And of course, on our Patreon, www.patreon.com/TFU.INFO. Sign up, help out the site. As little as $1 a month gets you on the Patreon. You get episodes at least one day early, except when they're breaking news like this. And you get access to all sorts of goodies. I try to post there regularly. We've got some fun stuff there, some polls, and I always like to pick the brain of my Patreon students. So I hope you enjoyed this quick update. I'll see you over at Transformers University podcast. Once again, I am Anthony Bricali, owner, operator, madman behind TFU.INFO. Till next time, see ya.
It is a world transformed, where things are not what they seem. Transformers!
Want to learn a bit about the Transformers? Think you know everything about Cybertron, but are looking to learn a little bit more? Enroll today at Transformers University Podcast. Each episode will tackle a piece of Transformers history, starting in 1984 and marching our way up to today. Hosted by me, Anthony Brucali, 3-time Emmy Award winner and consulting producer on Netflix's The Toys That Made Us, and lifelong Transformers fan. We'll go on a journey through cartoons and comics, toys and movies, and all the weird esoterica from around the world, chronicling the adventures of everyone's favorite robots in disguise. Listen to Transformers University on iTunes, Google, Spotify, YouTube, and wherever you get your favorite podcasts.
Transform and roll out!